What's up, everybody? It's the new year, which is the perfect time to make your IRA contributions for 2019. Today, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do a backdoor Roth IRA contribution, specifically on Vanguard's website. So if you use Vanguard as your brokerage account for your retirement investments, this video will show you exactly what you have to do on their website to do a backdoor Roth contribution. Now, if you don't know what a backdoor Roth contribution is or why you would want to do it, this is not the video for you. Go back and watch the video I already made on what the heck a backdoor Roth contribution is. Fundamentally, it's a way to bypass the income limits above which you're not supposed to make a normal Roth contribution. So what I've done here is I've logged on to my Vanguard account, and what you'll see is I have two accounts listed. My traditional IRA, which has $0 in it, and my Roth IRA, which has $22,000 in it. So I'm all set up right now to do a backdoor Roth contribution, where I first contribute to a traditional IRA. The only thing that has an income limit for a traditional IRA is taking a deduction for that contribution, which I'm never going to do. Because as soon as I make the contribution, it's going to be a post-tax contribution, if you will. I've never taken a tax deduction for it. I'm going to convert that to Roth. And because it's already tax money, when I do that Roth conversion from traditional to Roth, I don't owe additional taxes or anything. So I've snuck it in the back door into the Roth IRA. I'm not making a Roth IRA contribution, which would make me subject to the income limit. I'm making a traditional to Roth conversion, for which there is no income check. So you'll see I've already done the first step here, which is to create my traditional IRA account and my Roth IRA account. If you haven't done that yet, use the Open an Account button here, electronic bank transfer, and indicate that you want to open a retirement account, open a traditional IRA, continue. Now, since I already have one, it's offering to add to an existing account, but you would open a new account, and once that's done, you can follow on with the rest of this video. So there's a couple ways to actually get to the point to make your contribution. I always click on Balances and Holdings, which shows my two accounts, the traditional IRA with $0 in it, as well as the Roth IRA. So in this traditional IRA, I'm going to click Buy and Sell, Contribute to an IRA. And this brings up the standard page for IRA contributions. First of all, I'm not making a rollover from like 401k or from a different IRA. So this is checked no. And then this shows, since it's January right now, I'm still allowed to contribute for 2018, but in this case, it's saying I've already contributed the limit for 2018. Now you'll see that the yearly maximum for 2019 is $6,000, and so far I've contributed $0. So I can still contribute $6,000 for 2019. Now, since this is just going to be a placeholder, since I'm going to put my money in the traditional IRA, only to very quickly, within the next day or two, convert it to a Roth IRA, I'm not actually going to invest it in any mutual funds or any retirement funds or anything. I'm just going to leave it in the federal money market, the settlement fund, which is basically equivalent to cash. So I'm contributing to my traditional IRA. Oh, I have to indicate how much. $6,000. I want to max out my 2019 contribution. Where's the money coming from? Well, I have already added my personal checking account to Vanguard. It's already hooked up to my account. If you haven't done it yet, you would have to do this. This transaction will be debited via ACH. Should be debited within 2 days. Now would be a good time to go double check, make sure I've got $6,000 in my checking account. I would hate to be overdrawn. And then once you do that, you can click Submit. One thing that's really important to remember, you've probably read this before, but to make a backdoor Roth contribution go smoothly, you can't already have pre-tax money in your traditional IRA, money that you've actually taken a tax deduction for. What makes it so smooth is when I have a traditional IRA, which is $0, I contribute $6,000 to it for the year, never take a deduction for that money, and convert it all. If you have any money in there that you've previously taken a deduction for, so maybe in the past you've made a traditional IRA contribution like normal and taken a tax deduction like normal, or maybe you've rolled over money, pre-tax money, traditional money from an employer's 401k, maybe you've left that company and you've rolled it into an IRA, but that money is pre-tax. the backdoor Roth isn't so straightforward, because then when you make the conversion from traditional to Roth, you will owe tax on a percentage of that conversion based on the proportion of the money which sitting in there, which was pre-tax, versus this new money that you've never taken a deduction for. I know that's complicated. That's not what this video is about. If you have existing untaxed money in your traditional IRA, you got to do some Googling, or maybe I'll make another video about it. Just search for Backdoor Roth pro rata rule. Now, I'm super excited to make this video, but unfortunately I have to turn off the camera for a couple days until my money actually gets deposited into the account. Then I can show you how to do the part step by step, how to do the conversion from traditional to Roth. All right, everybody, I'm back. It's been 3 long days, but my contribution is finally fully accounted for in my traditional IRA, and I'm ready to convert it to Roth. So I'm back in my Vanguard account here, and there's a couple of ways to get to the screen to convert it. But what I usually do is go to Balances and Holdings, and here it's split between traditional IRA and Roth IRA. We can see my $6,000 are in my Vanguard Federal Money Market Fund, and I want to convert to Roth IRA. Blah, blah, blah. You can read all this on your own time, basically saying you might owe taxes. I'm not going to owe taxes because I haven't taken a deduction for this money. It's still post-tax money. I would like to convert all of the account. Select holdings to convert. Again, there's only one option here, Vanguard Federal Money Market Fund. So in this case, since I'm saying convert all the shares in the account, there's nothing I need to do here in the select holdings section. Choose the Roth IRA account to convert to. I only have one. I could open a new account here. Okay, that's good to know. If you didn't already have your Roth IRA, you could just do that in this step. Finally, tax withholding. The conversion amount moving out of your retirement account may be subject to federal income tax. We've already got that handled. I elect not to have federal and state income taxes withheld from this distribution. Yes, I elect that. I don't need a tax withholding notice. Continue. Review and submit. Boom. Confirmation. We are done. All right, next, I'm going to give you a little bonus education on this video. I'm going to show you exactly how you have to do your tax forms to handle this. We need to record this and make sure the government is aware of exactly what we did and why we don't owe any taxes. Let's do one of the most fun things in the world. Let's look at the tax form that you're going to have to fill out for doing a backdoor Roth IRA. The form you need is 8606, which is an attachment to your regular tax return. And this keeps track of the fact that you've made non-deductible contributions to your traditional IRA. This is the form for tax year 2017. So we're just going to walk through it as if we're really doing our 2017 taxes and that we made a backdoor Roth contribution in 2017. Enter your total non-deductible contributions to traditional IRAs for 2017. $6,000. Now in 2017 you could only actually do $5,500, but bear with me. Enter your total basis in traditional IRAs. So before this year, how much money did I have in my traditional IRA? This is where it's going to start figuring out whether you owe the pro rata rule. Now for me, as I said, I had $0 prior to this year, so I'm not subject to the pro rata rule. Add lines 1 and 2, gives me $6,000. Now next, in the tax year, did you take a distribution or make a Roth IRA conversion? Yes, we did make a Roth IRA conversion. So we have to go straight to line 4. Now we enter those contributions included on line 1 that were made between January and April of the year following the tax year. So I'm going to put 0 because for me, I'm pretending I'm making the Roth IRA contribution at the beginning of the actual tax year, not the beginning of the next year. Subtract line 4 from line 3, still gives me $6,000. Enter the value of all your traditional SEP and simple IRAs as of December 31, 2017, plus any outstanding rollovers. So because I converted all my money to Roth IRA, at the end of the tax year, the value of all my traditional IRAs is 0. Enter your distributions from IRAs. Do not include rollovers or conversions to a Roth IRA. So this is 0. enter the net amount you converted from traditional to Roth. So let's say we converted $6,000 sharp. If you had a little bit of gains between the time you contributed to your traditional IRA and your Roth, you might have to reflect that. It might be $6,004. It might be less than $6,000 if you had some losses. Add lines 6, 7, and 8 is only 6,000. Divide line 5 by line 9. 6,000 divided by 6,000 is 1. 1.000. Again, this form is basically just calculating out the pro rata rule. Multiply line 8 by line 10, 6,000. This is the non-taxable portion of the amount you converted to Roth IRAs. That's what we want. The whole thing should be non-taxable because we never took a deduction for that money. Also, enter this amount on line 17. Multiply line 7 by line 10, 0. Add lines 11 and 12, 6,000. This is the non-taxable portion of all your distributions. Yeah, we already know that. Subtract line 13 from line 3. So we take line 3 is 6,000. Line 13 is 6,000. This is 0. This is your total basis in traditional IRAs for this year and earlier years. Yeah, we know is 0 because it's empty now. Subtract line 12 from line 7. 7 is 0. 12 is 0. So this is 0. This is 0. Subtract line 15B from 15A, 0. All right, part 2 is 2017 conversions from traditional IRAs to Roth IRAs. Complete this part if you converted part or all of your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA in 2017. If you completed part 1, enter the amount from line 8, 6,000. Taxable amount, subtract line 17 from line 16. 6,000 minus 6,000 is 0. So again, confirming, taxable amount is 0. Distributions from Roth IRAs, I didn't take these, so I don't have to do that. And that's going to be the end of this form. And you're going to file this with your tax return, which provides the permanent paper record of what you did here.